On today's episode, we have a reader tip for a good Universal theme park hack. On the question of the week, we'll discuss how to fix lounge overcrowding at the airport, and we'll talk all about the best ways to share points, miles, and other rewards.
Frequent Miler on the Air starts now. Today's main event, best ways to share rewards with friends and family. There's many reasons you may want to share points or award stays or flight awards with friends or family members, but some programs make that easy. Some make it really difficult or impossible. We're going to talk about the best ways to do all of that in today's main event.
And remember, if you want to jump ahead to a specific segment or you want to come back to something later on, you can always find the timestamps in the show notes. Just expand the description box wherever you're watching or listening. Don't forget to like this. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe, enable notifications if you're listening in podcast form. Leave us a review. Leave us your comments. We always love to hear from you. So on that note, let's drag out this week's Giant Mailbag.
Today's Giant Mail comes from Leslie, who has an awesome theme park hack. Leslie writes, I have a mother and son 8th grade graduation trip to Universal Theme Park in Orlando. Have been researching ways to maximize point earnings for the purchase. Rakuten has few options since Viator excludes theme park tickets in their terms and conditions. Previously, would have used Sapphire Reserve for 3X and booked through Undercover Tourist, Dakota's Travel. But as an aside, she didn't write this here, but Sapphire Reserve no longer offers 3X for all travel purchases, and that's why that's not an option. As a last ditch, I looked on the Capital One travel portal. As of September 2025, there are activities that earn at 5X. Universal, as well as Disney World, were available for purchase. I got 2 adult 3-day park tickets for $940 and was able to use my $300 travel credit. I then netted 3,500 Capital One points for the purchase. Also, booked a 2-night stay at the Loews Portofino through the Fine Hotels and Resorts program. This hotel gives you included express passes, including the day you check in as well as check out. We are staying across the street the night before at a Hyatt, and then we'll check in early to Loews, store our bags, and get our express passes. The day of checkout will be the same. Check out, store bags, go to the park all day, and then move to Hyatt at the airport for our last night prior to our flight out. This is a huge savings as the cost of the express passes are crazy high.
Yeah, that is a really good tip. I like that final tip quite a bit, the included express passes. That's huge and good to know. Something I'll keep in mind in the future. I noticed, actually, I'm in Orlando as we record this, and I noticed yesterday that a couple of the restaurants at that Loews Portofino are on either in-kind or resi. I can't recall which because I was looking to use credits that I have with both, but take a look because they're on one or the other. Another small Orlando tip I noticed is that Galaxy Bowl at Universal Cabana Bay is on Resi as well, so you can bowl, and so it could be an activity. You can eat there too, but it can be an activity if you've got cards that have Resi credits. That was something that I didn't expect to find when I was looking at Resi options, and we didn't go bowling, at least not yet. I don't know that we will, but something we might consider. Anyway, back to the park tickets. So this is a tip that I intentionally did not amplify too much in the post that I wrote, but I wanted to share a bit here because you did well on the park tickets. But a tip to share here is that Klook, which is an activity booking platform very similar to Viator and TripAdvisor activities, Expedia activities, etc. Klook is Klook. They sell park tickets, and sometimes you can get really big targeted Capital One shopping offers for Klook. Now, the big Capital One shopping targeted offers for Viator and TripAdvisor almost always explicitly mention that they exclude park tickets. But at least a year ago, when we last went to Disney, Klook didn't have any exclusion like that, and so I got 40% back on my Disney tickets that way. Yeah, so that's something I put in a post somewhere, but didn't headline, so I wouldn't shout that from the rooftops, Leslie. But if you're going to Orlando, I know I kind of am here. If you're going to Orlando, it's worth maybe trying that at some point if you can't find a better option. Now, don't shoot the messenger if Klook eventually decides they're going to exclude those. Maybe they already have. I haven't bought tickets there in a year now. It was last January when my family last went to Disney. So anyway, there you go. There's a little tip to add.
Yeah. Also,
All right.
also,
Okay.
don't feel bad if don't listen to what Nick said and feel like bad, like maybe you didn't get the best deal because
Oh
the deal
no.
you got was really
Yeah,
good. And, I think lots of people would love the opportunity to use their Capital One $300 travel credit for something like theme park tickets. And I
for
didn't know
sure.
that you could do that. And so that's awesome to know. And the ability to earn 5x, of course, is really good too.
Yeah, that's huge. And actually, somebody else wrote in with this tip a while back here, and I just forgot to write a post about it. The fact that Capital One Travel is offering Disney tickets, and I think that's a fantastic use of the $300 travel credit to get really good values. So thank you for putting that back on the radar. We'll make sure we get that on the list of things to write about sometime soon. All right, that brings us to card news.
All right. Today's card news is Marriott Bonvoy Boundless. Their offer for five 50K free night awards is back. This one requires $3,000 in spend in 90 days in order to earn that welcome bonus. I have to say, what a difference several years makes because I remember when Marriott first came out with the same offer back, I think it was in the early days of the pandemic, maybe. It was way back then and we saw it as like, this is the best offer ever. We can't believe how good this offer is. I mean, there were still some things about it that we didn't love, but at the time, 50K free nights could get you into really nice Marriott properties. Since then, award prices have gone up quite a bit. So the offer is less exciting, but there are still very good Marriott hotels that you can book with 50,000 point free night certificates. You could add up to 15,000 points to each one in order to book nights that cost up to 65,000 points. So overall, let me just say, I think the offer, it can be very valuable, especially if you have a use for 5 nights at Marriott hotels that are within that 65,000 point or less range when you want to stay. But do keep in mind some caveats, like when you're booking with free night certificates, the fifth night free benefit of booking with points doesn't apply. So this is nowhere near worth 250,000 points. The unlike points, certificates expire in 1 year, so you have to make sure you actually use these within 1 year. Unlike an offer that's a welcome bonus of points. And as I said before, if you want to book any property that costs 66,000 points or more, you're out of luck because you're only allowed to top off up to 15,000 additional points.
Yep, yep. And then, of course, if you end up using it on a hotel that costs less than 50,000 points, you don't get any points back. So if it costs fewer than 50,000 points per night, you get no refund there. So there's definitely some downsides there where it's not great. And so I agree with Greg and all of that, though perhaps because I'm in Orlando right now, I know that there are some great uses here. For instance, I stayed at the JW Marriott Orlando Grand Lakes last year, or last summer, and loved it. And I just looked and tonight, as we record this, 50,000 points a night tonight versus
There you
a
go.
cash rate of $466 before taxes. So more than $500 after tax. Of course, there's a resort fee there because Marriott adds those even when you're using free night certificates. But there are uses. I mean, that's one, and surely there are not millions. There are many other good uses. There are probably also many other situations where you would want to use them and can't. And that whole use them or lose them in a year, that makes me nervous. So I'm lukewarm on the offer overall.
Yeah, but as you pointed out, like if you're eyeing a property like that JW Marriott, and you see it can be booked, I mean, this is crazy
Right.
valuable. So it
Yeah.
just really depends
Yeah.
on the situation.
For sure. For sure. All right. Next up, Bonvoyed. So who Bonvoyed us this week? Hyatt. Hyatt Bonvoyed us, Greg.
Sort of. So unofficially for years, with Hyatt, if you had top tier globalist status and you failed to use one of the free night certificates before it expired, they would give you, and you reach out to them, they would then give you points to compensate you for losing that free night certificate as a goodwill gesture. And what they used to do is if it was a category 1 through 4 certificate, they'd give you 10,000 points. Category 1 through 7, it was 20,000 points. now what we're hearing is numerous reports where the same certificates, when they expire, people reach out, try to get points. They're only being offered 2,500 points or 5,000 points for those two different types of certificates, which is so little, it's virtually meaningless.
Yeah, so to be clear, this is only for certificates earned from the Hyatt side. So to be clear, there's different types of certificates. Certificates that you earn from your credit card, they would never give you points for.
That's
So
true.
the sort of Chase issued certificates would not be eligible for this. This was for certificates you earn, like the 30-night milestone benefit. One of those is a category 1 to 4 free night certificate. 60-night milestone is a category 1 to 7 free night certificate. There are some other ways to earn those also through the Hyatt program now and then. So those types of certificates are the ones we're talking about for hitting like Hyatt milestones and whatnot. But yeah, so it's a bummer. I don't know. I sit on the fence here. There's part of me that's like, oh man, that really stinks. And it highlights for me the poor expiration policy on milestone rewards because they
Hmm.
expire after just 6 months. Use them or lose them. And before you knew you can get a decent number of points out of them, now you can't. So that's a big bummer for me. It highlights what a weakness that is, I think, in terms of offering a good reward for reaching the milestones. The flip side of that is that they didn't have to offer any points at all before, and they're so easily giftable now that there's sort of less excuse for letting them expire unused. I say sort of because maybe you planned on using it 5 months after it was issued, and then that trip gets canceled, and there's like a month left where you've got to use it or find somebody
Right.
to gift it to. So, like, it's only a small excuse, the fact that they're easily giftable. But I suppose from Hyatt's perspective, they don't have to offer anything at all, and they are
Yeah.
easily giftable. So,
It's totally within their right to do that, and most other programs don't offer you anything when
anything, yeah.
when your free nights expire. So it's just too bad. It's good to know if you're globalist that not to expect much if that happens. It kind of reinforces for me how important it is to proactively think about gifting them if I'm not going to use them myself.
Yep, absolutely. My wife earned a category 1 to 4 from reaching 30 nights last year. And so we decided to extend our stay in Orlando by a night to use one of those since it was going to expire in 6 months anyway. I'm also keeping my eye out for opportunities like that where I say, oh, you know what? There's a good opportunity to use it. Let's use it before we lose it.
Hmm.
All right, awards, points, and more. First up in awards, points, and more, Atmos Rewards Communities are coming. What are Atmos Rewards Communities?
Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what they are, but they are um, they are things that there's two versions of them that exist right now. Basically, I think this all started with Hawaiian Airlines had some kind of community of people who live in Hawaii where got some extra benefits, and now the Atmos program, has taken over Hawaiian miles and Alaska miles, so it's all one thing now. So they added another community, which is for Alaska residents. So now there's for Hawaiian residents and Alaska residents, both of those groups can get various benefits once they opt into those communities of things like free check bags, some discounts and other things. But now what they're doing is they've announced, I don't think they've actually rolled them out yet. They've announced
Correct. Yeah.
communities that'll be available to much wider group of people, or really everyone can join at least one community. There's one called Global Locals that'll be for members who live outside the U.S. And they'll get, for example, 20% more status points on flights that begin and or end outside of the U.S. There's one called Families on the Go, which will be rebates on award flights for children and some discounts as well. There'll be a group called Culinary Journeys that's again about perks for when you travel to select destinations known for their food. So I'm going to be very interested to see what destinations they pick out for that. I assume France widely wouldn't be included, but what else? And Italy, I suppose. And then the last one is active escapes, and that's for there'll be bonus points and bonus status points for flying to select locations known for their nature, with increasing rewards for each one that you visit. So
Yeah.
so that's coming. So what do you think?
Yeah. I think that it's easy to tell that you're a glass half full guy and I'm a glass half empty guy because you read the culinary journeys and you were like, so I assume France and Italy will be included. I read culinary journeys and I was like, you're going to get bonus points and bonus status points on select destinations known for their food. So they're going to find food in places where they're not selling a lot of tickets and be like, oh, there's a great barbecue joint here you should go check out. Here's a sale. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. But no, I think this is interesting overall. And hopefully the foodies get some good stuff out of that. But as a family traveler, I am particularly interested in rebates on award flights booked for children under 12. That's awesome. There are a few
Yeah.
programs out there that offer discounts on children tickets, child tickets, and that's really good for me. I appreciate that, and then the discount on experiences that are child friendly. I don't know whether I would be redeeming my Alaska miles for those types of things, but hey, we'll check it out. So I think that's potentially going to be really nice. And then these others, the global locals, that stands out to me as interesting. Like Alaska is really after the expat market for some reason. Between the fact that the Summit card offers 3x on all foreign purchases, and now they're going to offer you more status points on flights that begin outside of the United States, they really want to reel in that expat community for some reason, which, hey, I mean, that's great. Expats frequently write in with questions or frustrations about things that don't work well for them from the various programs. And I feel like sometimes they feel left out of the credit card market in ways that things don't apply to them. And Alaska is saying, hey, expats, we're here for you. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, totally. And that's a really good observation about that. I didn't have any idea before how big the expat community is, but if they're really focusing on it, it must be a lot bigger than I imagine. Or
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they are important for them for some reason. I don't know why, but
right, right.
uh,
But it could be it's like
there they go.
here's a niche that no one else is going after, and
Well,
it's
that's
big
true.
enough
Yeah.
to be worth something to them. I assume. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, and if you can get 20% more status points on flights that begin or end outside the US, and that applies to award flights too, I would assume, since you earn status points on award flights, then you're earning even more when you're booking award to come back to
that's
the
great.
US. Yeah.
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 I like it.
Fantastic. Right. Right. It almost makes me want to move outside the US just so I can join that community. Um, but no, kudos again to Atmos for coming up with a creative way of keeping their members engaged. We gave them a lot of kudos for their Atmos Summit card, how creative it was, the type of perks that it offers. And again, this is this sounds like a program that people have to opt in, and I think that the act of opting in will make them really think about where they want to go. With those, especially with those last two communities I read, and just it's a step towards getting more engaged in the program, and especially if I'm going to get 20% discount or 20% more status points, whatever it is, it's going to keep you more engaged, and I think that's very clever.
Yeah, yeah, very good. All right, next up, Rakuten has extended its awesome new referral bonus that's been around. I say new, the awesome new member bonus, awesome referral bonus, where both sides can earn $50 or 5,000 points, and that could be 5,000 Amex membership rewards points or 5,000 Built points now that they partner with Built through March 31st. So the way this works is you refer a new member to Rakuten, and they must spend $50 within 90 days, and then both of you earn $50 or 5,000 points. That's, I think, the best referral offer we've seen from Rakuten. And we talked about it a couple times maybe last year because it ran through December 31st. Now it's extended through March 31st. And so you've got plenty of time to do it. Remember that if you choose Built for your payout from Rakuten, that they're going to maintain that 1-to-1 ratio through the May payout. So if you referred someone relatively soon, you'd know that you end up with 5,000 Built points. Or, of course, if you choose membership rewards, then you end up with 5,000 membership rewards points on both sides. So, I mean, when these things come around, I've, in the past anyway, often taken advantage of the ability to refer family members, friends, people that I know, and say, hey, listen, you should sign up for that. Are you spending $50 on something? Here, let me refer you for this, and you'll get your $50 back, and and I'll also be rewarded. So I think
Yeah.
that's a cool
Yeah,
opportunity.
and a great thing here is like at least my experience has been very positive with the Rakuten portal, so I have no hesitation in recommending to friends, hey, you might want to use this portal. You earn extra rewards when you're shopping for things you're going to get anyway. And by the way, if you do this, it's an easy $50 for you, if they're not into points. And yeah, so anyway, so it's just worth mentioning again and again because it is a really good deal. And, if you have friends that you could refer, it's an easy way to to earn some cash or extra points. So that's great.
Yep. Yeah, and keep in mind if you refer a lot of friends, you will get a 1099 from Rakuten. So keep that in mind if you are going to get everyone you know to sign up for it. But like Greg said, I think a key there for us is that it's so reliable. You look around and you'll see plenty of people that say that that's their go-to portal because it's so reliable. There are other portals where we caveat and say, hey, this maybe isn't always the most reliable portal, and we don't usually say that about Rakuten. They are typically very reliable. Of course, there's going to be somebody who has an issue now and then, but you're right. It's one I don't hesitate to recommend to newcomers. So there you go. There you have it. All right. Next up, get 2 years of Hilton Gold or Diamond Elite. Sorry. Let me say that again. Get 2 years of Hilton. I don't think I said that right. 2 years of Hilton Gold or Diamond Elite status with an Elite status match. So you can match to Hilton Gold status right now, and then stay 6 nights within 90 days to keep your Gold status through March 31st of 2028, or upgrade to Diamond if you stay 12 nights within 90 days. And again, status through March 31st of 2028. So you're like 2 years of status almost if you were to complete that soon, I guess. So in order to get this, you have to upload proof of your status and a recent stay from the program that you're matching from. That's an interesting additional requirement that you have to prove that you've
Yeah.
stayed, not just that you have
Yeah.
like the IHG card and have platinum status, but that you've stayed at an IHG or whatever the case may be.
Right, right. So on the one hand, I get it because a lot of people who are matching from, as you gave the example, IHG or Marriott or whatever, just have their status because of a credit card or maybe some other status match. There's all kinds of ways you can get those kind of mid-tier statuses. On the other hand, I'm not really sure why they care. So Hilton gives out gold status like candy, and so if you're gonna actually, so yeah, it'll give you gold status for 90 days, which could be really useful if you don't already have it. And keeping it for 2 years, you'd have to stay 6 nights, and I would think they would want to encourage more people to do that. But anyway, so they do have that requirement to try to keep the riffraff from doing it.
It's such an interesting ad. Like you said, why do they care? I know somebody out there is going to say, well, because they want people who actually stay, right? Well, yeah, but you got to stay the 6 nights in order to keep this or pay 90, or no, I guess it's $150 now for the card that offers Hilton Gold status anyway. So, yeah, like Greg said, they give it out so easily. It's odd that they would try to closely guarded on the match here. The whole idea of the match
Right.
is to get people to stay a few more nights than they ordinarily would during this time period. And you would think that'd be enough benefit for them to hopefully be able to draw those customers in. But whatever, if you got status with somebody and you have an upcoming Hilton stay, take a look at the match.
Yep.
All right, so next up, Radisson Rewards launches a shopping portal with up to 30% bonus earnings. That sounds pretty good, Greg, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds great. 30%. Wow. But Stephen did the math, and it turns out that when you account for how little Radisson points are worth, getting up to 30% bonus earnings through that portal is not exciting at all. Check out his post for details, but I mean, if you care. Radisson Rewards, by the way, you might think, isn't that gone? Because Choice Privileges bought Radisson, but they bought Radisson Americas. And so Radisson Rewards, like the international program, still exists. And its points were devalued to close to zero. So
Not much.
just
Yeah.
don't even worry about
Don't
it.
even bother. Don't even
So,
bother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I saw in the comments of Steven's post, someone asked if it would be useful for keeping points alive, and I haven't seen his response yet, but I'm thinking, why do you even want to keep those points alive? They're worth so little.
Maybe they had a
You'd
bunch.
have to
Maybe
have
they
a
had a
lot.
bunch from back in the day. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean,
Yeah,
when they kind of split the programs, you had the opportunity to move them to
that's
one
true.
side or the other before they split. So maybe if you moved a bunch to the international side, but to be extra clear, the Radisson Rewards International, you can't use those points for the Radisson Americas properties. Like
Right.
these points are only for booking those foreign Radissons. So like if you stay at a lot of Radissons in Europe, maybe you would care about this, but even still, probably not very much since it's worth so little. So there you go. All right, finally, Margaritaville at Sea. I took a cruise that ended earlier this week, and it was a free cruise match from Margaritaville at Sea. Now, I don't know if I ever mentioned this one because I didn't expect it to have super wide appeal, but Margaritaville at Sea is a very small cruise line, just two cruise ships. Right now, they're going to add a third one that's going to enter next year. And so they've been on an ongoing basis offering a casino match, and you have to email in order to get the match. The information is in the post that I wrote. And it was pretty easy. I emailed in like a couple of casino statuses that I had and a past balcony offer from another cruise line, and they gave me an offer for a free balcony cabin on the Margaritaville Islander. So I wrote all about my experience with it because it ended up being really good. We were surprised, and it's not going to compete with like if you like going on cruise ships that have roller coasters and ice skating rinks and go karts and stuff like that. It's not like that at all. But it was a very relaxed, fun cruise. We had a good time, and I think we were pretty much done with cruising, but because we've done so many over the last couple of years, and we walked off the ship saying, I'd book that again. So,
Wow.
that to me says quite a bit. But I wanted to highlight a few quick things about the casino offer. One thing I forgot to mention in the post that I wrote is that the casino offer includes free Wi-Fi for two devices, which that easily saved me $200. I mean, I'm always paying for the Wi-Fi package because I'm normally working while we're on the ship, or I'm uploading photos or whatever else, or my wife is in the room with the kids and I want to be able to message her. So we both need the Wi-Fi. So that was awesome, and I just hotspotted off my phone in order to use my computer. That's worked for me on all the cruise lines. So that was great. That was an awesome little benefit that came with the casino match. Also, the casino was smoke free. Somebody asked about that, and I forgot to mention that, I think, in the review too, which was really nice. If you're going to spend any time in the casino and you don't smoke, I don't smoke. I hate the smoke in the casinos. It's like the most annoying part. Not only because I don't like the smoke smell, but then I get back to the room and my clothes smell like smoke, and then it drives
Right.
my wife nuts too. And so I loved the fact that it was smoke free. I thought that was an awesome little benefit that I didn't expect on Margaritaville at Sea. And also, I think it's worth a mention that it's pretty easy to maintain free cruise status if you gamble a little bit. You don't have to gamble a lot. They require you to earn 400 points in a single day or 1,000 points overall over the course of a year, even if you cruise with them more than once, in order to get silver status, which gives you a free cruise. And so that's and I don't know the full details on the free cruise yet. I don't know if it's only for an interior cabin or what the details are, because I haven't actually gotten it an offer for that yet, but I did hit the silver status easily, and I did the math. I sat at a couple of machines for 10 minutes to kind of get an idea as to how long it would take.
Hmm.
And at video poker, which a lot of people will play in order to kind of maximize these sort of things, I think within 3 or 4 hours you would hit silver status pretty easily, and a lot of people are probably willing to put in that 3 or 4 hours over the course of a cruise. Or if you did like the baccarat or roulette machines, you could earn it much faster than 3 or 4 hours, depending on how much you're willing to bet. Those are games that, like the baccarat, is almost a coin flip kind of a game. So that's something that like your expected loss over a long period of time would be pretty low. So my point is, it's actually pretty easy to maintain that silver status. And if you are a like actual gambler, then their program becomes pretty interesting, because at gold status, you start getting like a whole bunch of other additional things. You get a birthday cruise on top of the ordinary free cruise. So you get a free cruise in your birthday month. You get spa credit. You get $100 arcade credit. There's a whole bunch of additional things. And then if you actually hit their platinum status, you earn like a giftable cruise. You can gift it to somebody else, which is surprising because normally they want you to come back because you gamble. The fact that they give you a giftable cruise is pretty interesting. So nonetheless, those are things I didn't mention in the review, so I wanted to mention them on the podcast. You can read more about our experience with Margaritaville at Sea and why I liked it in the post, and that'll be linked in the show notes.
All right. Well, that sounds awesome. So you could actually just cruise for free each year if you just gamble a little bit, it sounds like.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, and
that's pretty
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it is if you enjoy it. And they like I did mention here that they are putting a new ship into service. Now I say new ship, their ships are all old ships that they've refurbished, but the Islander was nice. It was well, they did a good job refurbishing it. It seemed pretty new. Totally different than some of the other ships we've been on in that regard. Service was fantastic. And the new ship that they're putting into service is a little bit bigger and it's going to go to a whole bunch of new ports. So we weren't terribly excited about the port stops on most of the Margaritaville at Sea cruises. But the new ship that's coming into service is going to go to the ABC Islands. It's going to go to St. Martin, St. Thomas, I think, St. Kitts. They got a whole bunch, Grand Cayman. They got a bunch of places that they weren't sailing to before that might be on your radar if you're into Caribbean
Yeah.
cruises.
Yeah.
That brings us to this week's main event.
Main event time. Best ways to share rewards with friends and family. So I think that gifting travel is one of the best things you can do for any human being. Now, I don't recommend gifting travel to pet cats. Cats don't tend to enjoy travel very much. I know there are exceptions, but for humans, gifting travel can be awesome. But also sharing rewards can be also not so much gifts, but ways to accumulate enough points across like maybe family members in order to be able to book everybody together for a stay. Maybe your points are spread out among multiple people, and you're trying to book a single trip. There's so many reasons why sharing rewards can be great and rewarding, but not all programs are equal or even remotely so. In how easy they make it to share rewards.
Yeah, so let's talk about a whole bunch of these different options that you do have. So we're going to start out by talking about moving points to others here, right? So moving points to others. Let's start with credit cards because this is probably the first thing many of our listeners will be thinking about. Let's talk about which ones you can share with anyone. Who can you share with anyone, or who allows sharing with anyone?
Yeah. Well, first up, both Wells Fargo and Capital One, if you have their cards, you could share your points for free and easily with anyone else who has the Wells Fargo or Capital One cards that you want to share with. So those are great. I mean, that not having any restrictions like that and is terrific. Citi will also, like the Citi thank you points, you can also share with anyone who has a Citi thank you card. But there are a number of gotchas in there. One thing, the biggest gotcha is probably that points expire 90 days after the transfer. So, you don't want to just like give someone points as a birthday gift and hope for the best. What you want to do is, if you're going to be gifting points to someone, make sure that they have a known use for them within 90 days after you gift them. You're also limited to sharing or receiving up to 100,000 points per year. They also have a unique limit on the custom cash card. You can't share points that have been earned on that card. So that's just a weird specific thing.
Yeah, but okay, so those three programs are pretty unique, though, still in the fact that you can share points with anyone. Citi's got a few restrictions there that are certainly worth being aware of. Wells Fargo and Capital One have the advantage in making it easy to move your points. So if you have a friend or a family member that wants to book a trip, or you just want to give them a gift in some way, shape, or form, super easy to just move your points from your card to them. You just typically need like their card number and information, and it's relatively easy to do. So that's super simple. That's the easiest. Next easiest would be Chase Ultimate Rewards, right?
Yeah, easy-ish. In that you definitely can't share your points with just anyone. You can share points with up to one household member. Or a business partner. And so it's very limited in that way. You do need a call to kind of set up that share, but once it's set up, then you can move the points online very easily.
Yeah, and one thing to be aware of there is that a number of people have run into hiccups. Greg said you have to call initially to get it set up to be able to. So, for instance, for my wife to transfer her points to me, she had to call in the beginning and get that set up and linked up. And then it was easy for many years to just move the points from her card to mine. And I called and did the same thing to be able to move them the other direction. And then at some point, they started needing her to call in for a verification code every time she wanted to move points around. And there was a solution that we had learned about that in terms of setting up a mobile number within your online profile. I haven't actually done that with hers, so I don't have the experience doing it and getting that solved. But it is a solvable problem. If you've been running into that, there is a solution for it. So worth knowing there. So that's the next sort of level of ease, not easiest or easy necessarily, but the next easiest. What about my Amex membership rewards points? I got a bunch of those. I'd like to share them with my wife, my cousin, my friend. Can I do that?
No, you're out of luck. Amex does not let you move membership rewards points to another person. What you can do is potentially move your Amex points to their loyalty program, like to their airline program or hotel program that Amex points can transfer to. If they're an authorized user or have an employee card from one of your business cards, then you can move points to their loyalty programs. But you have to have maintained that authorized user relationship for at least 90 days before they enable that ability.
Yeah, so I recommend getting that set up before you need it because you have to have that 90-day lag. So what we've done in our household is made sure that we're on each other's Blue Business Plus cards because those are cards that we're not going to cancel, and so it'll maintain transferability to each other's loyalty programs if and when we need to. We have another family member who also participates in earning rewards with us, and so did the same thing. Made sure that we added to their Blue Business Plus, added or got ourselves added as employee cards, and so it's easy to set that all up basically and
Yeah.
make that sort of shareable.
Right. How about Built? So Built's a major transferable points program. You'd want to be able to share those points somehow. What can you do?
Nothing.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no way to
right.
share your build points at all, which is unfortunate. They definitely lag behind everybody else in that regard.
Right, right. Now you might say, but wait a minute, I could use my built points to book something for someone else, or I could transfer my built points to Hyatt and then transfer to someone else. And yeah, we'll talk about those type of things in the next section.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about airline miles. Which airlines allow you to kind of share rewards, move points, put your points together? So starting alphabetically here, I suppose with Air Canada Aeroplan. Air Canada Aeroplan makes it possible to pool with up to 8 family members, and that's really nice. I have that set up in our family, and so my wife and I, at least, and maybe I set that up with a couple other family members. I can't actually remember now, but at least my wife and I are in a pool together, and so any Aeroplan points that she has and that I have show up in one pool in my Air Canada Aeroplan app. So that's nice. It's awesome. It's automatic. It's easy. Once we get it set up, that's all there is to it. It's free. Anybody can do it. They do have, I'm sure, some security verification if you're trying to add people that they think for some reason are not, known to you, then maybe it'll get tripped up somehow. But I haven't had any, but it's functioned exactly as advertised for us.
Yeah, that's great. How about Alaska Atmos? Can you share those points?
Yeah. I had forgotten about this. I guess I would say that if you have the Atmos Summit card, you can share with up to 10 additional family members. So the Summit card, of course, is the premium card. Is it $495 annual fee? Is that right? On the Summit
Three
card?
ninety
It's
five.
395, 395. There you
And
go.
it doesn't have to be family members. I don't think. I think it could be
Oh,
anybody.
okay, there you go. So 10 additional members. Hawaiian, you can share if you have a Hawaiian Miles, well, what was a Hawaiian Miles credit card, a Hawaiian Atmos card these days, I suppose. If you had opened the Hawaiian cards while they were still available and you still have a Barclays Hawaiian card, you can share with anyone. You can send or receive points from anyone. So if the other person doesn't have a Hawaiian card, for instance, they can still transfer their Alaska points to you if you are a card holder. So if either party of the transaction has the card, you can still share with anyone. So yeah, so if you want to be able to share with anybody, you can still get a Hawaiian Airlines credit card that's issued by Barclays, and it gives you Atmos Rewards points. So we don't know if those cards will stick around forever. We had long predicted that they probably wouldn't stick around, but at this point, they're still there. So you still
Yeah,
have the
and
opportunity.
the long term plan is to keep the Hawaiian Airlines brand separate from the Alaska Airlines brand, and so as long as they're doing that, it kind of makes sense to have both credit cards. Um, so we'll see. Yeah,
All right, JetBlue, TrueBlue. Another program that makes it really easy to pool with up to 7 other members. I have this set up for my family, my wife and kids and I. All of our points are pooled together. We did the 25 for 25 last year, and as soon as the points posted from their accounts, the pool all added up in my account. Now, whoever the sort of pool leader is sees the combined balance, but like my wife is a member of the pool, and in her account, she just sees the points that belong to her. I didn't even think about this until this came up here now on the show, but I'm the only person that sees the entire pool. So I think maybe there is a way to set it up so that other people can be administrators. I can't recall for sure, but at any rate, you can pool with up to 7 members. It is easy, it is automatic, and then I can redeem the points from the entire pool very easily in my JetBlue app
Yep.
or the website.
All right. Then Spirit. Spirit will allow you to share. Spirit will allow you to pool with up to 8 friends as long as you have silver or gold elite status, or you're a cardholder, a Spirit cardholder, and then you can do that sharing for free. How about United?
United allows you to pool with up to 5 members, but the key but here is that pooled miles can only be used to book United and United Express operated flights. So don't pool your United miles expecting to use the pooled miles to book partner award flights. However, in the event that the pool leader dissolves the pool, the miles get distributed equally among all of the members of the pool. So it's sort of a backdoor way of transferring your points.
Yeah, let me explain that briefly. So let's say, Nick and I, let's say I wanted to give some United points to Nick. We could create a pool together, and put in however many points we want to share, and then I could leave the pool, and then the pool exists with only Nick as the only person left. He dissolves the pool, and then all the remaining points go to him, which is all of them. And so that's a way I could transfer points to Nick for free.
But you can only join a pool once you left a pool. I think there's a minimum waiting period before you can join another pool. I think it's like 90
Right.
days or something
Right.
like
You
that.
don't want
So
to
this
do
isn't
this
something, yeah,
often.
you can't do
Yeah.
this repeatedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you need to just move some, then that's a potentially a way to do it. All right. What about the other major airlines?
Yeah, so there's many that don't have any options for sharing for free, but some of the major ones in the U.S., American Airlines, Delta, Southwest, as to my knowledge, they don't offer any way to share points for free. But Nick, I think for Southwest, that's kind of a new thing that you can't do that, right? Ish.
Well, sort of, yeah. So if you had a Southwest business card, one of the benefits until December 31st of 2025, so until just recently, one of the benefits was up to $500 per year in statement credits for the fee to transfer. So the Southwest charges a fee to transfer points to somebody else. So if you had one of the business cards, you could make that transfer, and as long as the fee for the transfer was $500 or less, or you could get up to $500 in credits each year to do that. But that's no longer the case. As of January 1st, 2026, that benefit is gone. So you no longer get that fee credit. So yeah, Southwest points are no longer freely shareable. And that was worth a mention, because if you've been a long-time Southwest business card holder and you've been used to having that benefit, you may have missed the fact that that was scheduled to change at the end of 2025. And so it is no longer a thing you can do.
Bummer. All right, let's talk hotel points. Which programs allow you to share hotel points for free?
World of Hyatt is the first one that comes to mind because it's easy-ish. You can transfer your points to anybody and it's free, and there isn't a limit in terms of how many points you move. But you have to do it kind of a manual way. They give you a form. You can find the form if you just Google it on the Hyatt website, and you have to print it out and fill it in and then fax it or email it and wait. And then once you move points, you can only send or receive points once every 30 days. So if I were to send points to my wife today, then first of all, I don't even know if they count 30 days from the day I submit it or 30 days from the day it gets processed. I assume 30 days from the day it gets processed, and it takes a few days normally to get processed. And so then once she's received those, she can't send to somebody else. Not only can she not receive more, she can't send either. And I can't do either. If Greg wanted to send me points, I'd have to say, gotta wait 30 days, Greg. I can't receive any points for a while. So it's a way of limiting it so that you don't abuse the privilege. I guess for most people, that will probably be reasonable in most situations. And we've moved our Hyatt points around that way plenty of times before. And it's nice to have that option. I wish Hyatt would make this easy to do online. Like there's no
Yeah,
reason that
yeah.
they can't
Well,
just create it
the
online.
nice thing is that they brought this into the 21st century sort of by allowing email, because previously I think it was fax
It's
only.
just facts, yeah.
And so the 30-day thing made total sense because it would take me at least 30 days to find a fax machine.
No kidding. No
But
kidding.
yeah, it would be nice if they yeah, if they would do something a little more. I mean, they've made everything else
2026.
easy to transfer online, and why not the points? That's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. Hilton, they have two ways of transferring points. One is through points pooling, and the other's transfers. And but there's a combined limit. You can send no more than 500,000 points and receive no more than 2 million points per calendar year. And there are also limits about how many transfers you can do. But still, it's free, and limits are pretty high, so you should be able to do most of what you need from that.
It's worth mentioning that's not necessarily instant either. I've had it come through near instantly before, but I've also had it take 24 hours before. So, or even more than 25. I had it take a couple of days before. So, and I've had mixed experience with both methods, the pooling and the transferring. So, don't wait until the moment you need to make a reservation. Do that a little proactively, at least.
Yeah. All right. So Marriott will allow you to transfer up to 100,000 points to another member for free and receive up to 500,000 per calendar year. 100,000 points, given that a lot of Marriott properties cost more than that for one night, that's a very low limit. So I would love to see that increased, but at least they allow some for free. So that's good.
Well, and the good news is you can do it online. It's easy. It's simple. It takes just a few seconds. And the last time
Yep.
we did it, it was instant. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, kudos to all the programs that allow this because, so many programs don't, and I think these programs don't get enough credit for allowing something. IHG also will let you transfer up to 100,000 points per year for no fee if you have Diamond Elite status. They used to, until recently, you could do that up to, I think it was up to 500,000, but they just lowered it to 100,000 point limit. And business reward members can also transfer up to 100,000, but there has to be a qualifying event involved, and I'm not really sure what that means. I haven't investigated that, but that's another thing that's changed recently because it used to be you could transfer points for free simply by signing up for their business rewards program, which was like a click of the mouse. And then you could transfer for free, but that's not the way it is anymore because you need a qualifying event. And until someone figures out what that is and how to do it and whether you could do that for free, which is very unlikely, you have to get diamond status to transfer for free.
I just hope I get invited to the qualifying event, whatever it is. All right, next up, let's talk about booking flights for others. People often that are new to the hobby often ask about this. Can I use my miles to book a flight for somebody else? And the answer to that is yes. Most programs, and when I say most, I mean the vast, vast majority of programs, allow this without any restriction. You can book a flight for anybody you want. So it doesn't have to be a family member, it doesn't have to be somebody in your household, doesn't have to be, it could be anybody. So I've booked awards for family and friends many times before without any issue. Even when I'm not traveling, you don't have to be traveling with the person for most programs. There are some, though, that restrict this.
Yeah, so there are programs. They seem to be mostly out of Asia. The ones I'm aware of, like
Mm-hmm.
Korean Airlines, Japan Airlines, ANA, where they say you can only book for a family member, and they vary in how how much due diligence they do to make sure that the person you're booking for is only a family member. So like Korean infamously requires all kinds of documentation and I think DNA samples and things to prove to prove
He's
it.
exaggerating about that, but like marriage certificate and stuff like things that you would not expect to have to
Yeah,
provide.
yeah. So don't even try. ANA, in my experience, there's no required documentation, and I'm not sure. I don't think Japan Airlines has it either. I can't remember.
No, they got a similar requirement, but I don't think that they are entitled to request documentation. ANA and Japan Airlines both as part of the terms that they
Right.
might, but they haven't
In
in my
practice, I haven't seen that
experience.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's worth being aware anyway that there are a few carriers, like Greg said, mostly in Asia. Singapore Airlines requires that you name nominees in advance, and you can only have so many nominees and change them so often. So that's another
Cathay
one
Pacific
that's
does
like
the
that.
same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah.
but you don't have that with any of the US based airlines. I'm not aware of that with any of the European based airlines. Turkish makes it a little hard to book for somebody else apart from them. Not more than a little hard. They make it a little complicated to book for somebody else. But other than Turkish, the other European airlines don't have this. So if you're just wondering, can I use my American Airlines miles or my United miles to book a flight for my cousin, my friend, my coworker? Yes, you can.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Turkish makes sense. I mean, they've got one foot in Europe and one in Asia, and so they're taking the best of both worlds.
There you go. The best of both worlds. That's not their slogan. All right. So next, let's talk about hotels. Booking hotel nights for others with points or free night certificates. Can you do
Um,
this, and how easy is it to do?
yeah, unfortunately, it's not as it's not as easy as with airline miles to just say, oh yeah, in most cases it's just a slam dunk. You could just do it. It really depends on the program. So like choice privileges, yeah, you could just do it. Just book online and put a different person as the recipient. Hilton lets you put a different person in the reservation who's allowed to check in. So that works great. IHG lets you put a additional person in on the reservation, so it's effectively gifting it to somebody else. They're still going to think you're going to be there, but when I've done this, what I've done is I've just contacted the hotel like right before the stay to just let them just to make sure that they know that the other person is going to be checking in, and that works okay. Um, Hyatt, I'm not. So actually, do you know how this works? I'm not really sure how it works when you want to use your own points versus gifting the points to someone else. I think you have
I've done
to
it before.
call.
Yeah, you have to call in order to. You could, I think, book it. I shouldn't even say. I think I know you can. You can book a hotel stay online, but you have to call in order to gift it to somebody else. You can also call and do that over the phone for someone and make the booking over the phone,
Yeah.
gifting it to them. They don't necessarily have to be a Hyatt member to do this. I gifted a stay to somebody who just didn't even want to sign up for the Hyatt program, so it can be done. But yeah, so it
Yeah.
is possible to do, but you do have to call with Hyatt.
Yeah, of course, we're saying call. I mean, I think you can also probably message on one of the, on X or Facebook, wherever they have support. Yeah, if you're globalist, you could contact your Hyatt concierge via email as well.
Yeah, actually, Hyatt also has chat within their app and on the website, both. So you can also
Oh,
chat
there you
with an
go.
agent right through Hyatt.
Yep, yep. And the Hyatt free night certificates, you could actually um, transfer to another person to let them book that free night certificate themselves if they're a Hyatt member. That's another thing you can do.
Yep. And I should mention we talked about messaging Hyatt through various platforms. For gifting a stay, I'm almost positive they've told me every time that I have to call in the last couple of years, though. Years ago, it was very easy to do stuff like that via Messenger, and I've run into more and more times where they tell me I have to call for that sort of thing. I'm pretty
Interesting.
sure gifting reservations was something where they did say I had to call. I remember having to make a call, and I was kind of annoyed one time. So, so I think
Okay.
pretty sure that's a requirement now. Anyway, but there are a lot of other things you could do via chat. You could apply your Suite Upgrade Awards via chat. I've done that before, I believe. And you can apply a Guest of Honor Award via chat. I've done that too. Okay,
Yeah.
next up.
Yeah, I meant to mention free night certificates with these others as well. Hilton free night certificates, I don't think you can officially share the free night with anyone, unfortunately. IHG, again, you can't officially do it, but you could use that option that I just talked about of adding the second person to check in, and I've had good luck with that. And Hyatt, you can actually share a free night certificate online, which I did mention. So now Marriott's in its own category with this kind of stuff. So Marriott, you cannot book with points online for somebody else. There's no way to do that, and you can't use a free night certificate for somebody else under any circumstances, not officially. What you can do officially is use your points to book a free stay for somebody, but you have to call to do that. And they've limited that to 5 stays per calendar year. So you can call up, say you want to book for so and so for these dates and this hotel. And what's interesting about that is that the gifter, so if you're the one gifting, you will earn elite qualifying nights for their stay. So that's pretty unusual. And the downside is they won't get any elite benefits. So even if you're top tier Marriott Elite have top tier. So even if you have high tier Marriott Elite status, they're not going to get free breakfast or any of the other benefits that elite status normally conveys. But otherwise, I've done this and it works fine. It's just kind of irritating that you have to call to do it.
There you go. All right. And like Greg said, there's no way to book with a free night certificate for somebody else. And they're explicit about that you can't book a stay for somebody else with a free night certificate. So that's Marriott. All right. So then, of course, you have Hyatt being sort of in a league of their own also. If Marriott's in a league of its own, Hyatt is also in a league of its own because you can share so many of the different things with Hyatt. So we talked already about sharing points with somebody else and how you have to do it via form, but you can share with anybody. You can also share the free night certificate, as Greg mentioned, with anyone. But then there are other things too, like suite upgrade awards can be gifted to anybody. The club access awards can be gifted to anybody. Guest of honor awards can be gifted to anybody. All the free night certificates. So it's nice to be able to have that option because wow, it's so simple to gift those now.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, you can, you know, if you have high tier elite status with Hyatt, or you've just earned a lot of milestone rewards, the types of things that you can gift to people is pretty incredible and can make for, let's say you're gifting someone a honeymoon, and so you want them to stay in a suite, and you could gift them that suite upgrade award, or maybe you gift them the guest of honor award so that they're treated as globalists for their entire stay, and they get breakfast included and 4 p.m. late checkout and all the other benefits that it offers. I really applaud Hyatt in going so far into this realm of allowing sharing in so many different ways is really fantastic.
It really is, and it's easy to do, and it's nice to be able to take advantage of that. Like, for instance, I mentioned earlier in the show that my wife earned a Category 1 to 4 Hyatt Free Night Certificate recently as a milestone reward for achieving 30 nights in 2025, and that has a 6-month expiration, so we wanted to make sure to use it, and we didn't really want to use it in her name because I'm the one that has the globalist status and gets globalist benefits, so we wanted to book the stay in my name. It was easy for her to just gift that free night certificate to me so that I could make the booking, and now we'll get the free parking, the free breakfast. If there was a lounge, we'd get lounge access, 4 p.m. late checkout, which we're going to use. So all of that stuff is nice to be able to have, and it makes it easier to play in 2-player mode because we can share those things back and forth. So it's certainly a big benefit for Hyatt. Hyatt's got a lot going for it in that regard.
Yeah, and it just couldn't be further from Marriott if you stretch it. So Marriott's like, no sharing, and in the limited cases where you can share, no elite benefits for you, and Hyatt's like, sure, share away, and that's great.
Right.
Now there are limits, some irritating limits, like Hyatt will not let you combine multiple awards. Now this isn't really a limit to sharing; it's a limit in general that you can't combine like a guest of honor award and a suite upgrade award on a single stay. So you can't get both of those things. And that's frustrating. But it's still a collection of great benefits.
Absolutely. All right, my friends. I think that brings us to this week's question of the week. That wraps up our discussion of sharing and brings us to the question of the week. So, this week's question of the week is about airport lounge crowds. And so, Dave writes in and says, with the all too common overcrowding at airport lounges and things appearing to get worse rather than better, I wanted to ask what you would do to fix this issue outside of the obvious build more lounges answer. So, this question is about the fact that lounges are sometimes overcrowded. You know, if you try to use the Centurion Lounge at Seattle, for instance, I've often heard from people that there's a wait to get in, or they can't get in before their flight, or some priority pass lounges might be overcrowded and or not accepting guests, or you might have to get on a list and get texted. I've had that happen anytime I've tried to use a Capital One lounge. The few times I've been somewhere with one, I haven't been able to get in because I had to get on a wait list and wasn't able to clear that in time. So what's the solution? What do you have any ideas? What can programs do or lounges do? What's the solution to lounge overcrowding, Greg?
Yeah. So, I like what some lounge networks are doing with these grab and go options, because a lot of people, they're entering lounges because they want food. And like if that's their main goal, it's a shame if one, they can't get in because there's too many people and there's not enough seats. And it's a shame if they're taking up seats that other people who want to actually find a relaxing place to sit and wait around want. So having a grab and go option, I think, is awesome. And in fact, in some places, like it kind of solves the problem of a lot of airports just don't have space for lounges, and so you could do a grab and go with very limited amount of space, give people that good perk of the free food without having to pay for a lot of expensive airport space. But yeah, I mean, another option, I guess, is to impose more limits. We see that a lot lately, where for example, Capital One has stopped allowing Venture X cardholders to bring in free guests, except under certain circumstances. Like I think you have to spend $75,000 to allow that. Delta's gone the furthest, where they have limits to how many visits you could do per year. I don't love that as a card holder. I want to be able to come in as many times as I want and things like that. But if I think that's better than just letting lines go way out the door.
Yeah. So the reader who wrote in here shared some potential ideas. Dave said you could follow the Sky Club model of limiting the number of visits per year, or like you just said there. Another idea that the reader floated here was shorten the time before a scheduled flight that you can gain access, so people are not camping out all day at the lounge. What do you think about that? Is that a solution to shorten the amount of time people can spend? I think right now most lounges limit you to access 3 hours before your flight. It varies a little bit in some places, but most of them are 3 hours before your flight. Should that get shortened?
I don't like that. I mean, the time to me when lounges are most useful is when I have a lot of time to kill before a flight, and so that would kind of make it less interesting to have access to the lounge at all. So I'm not a fan of that solution. Yeah. I also really don't like that a lot of lounge access now doesn't allow access upon arrival at an airport. So, my wife and I arrived at DCA Airport, and it was around lunchtime, wanted to try out the Capital One lounge there. We went to the thing, and they were like, oh, no, this is only before departure. And so, we could have gone into the Delta Sky Club for lunch, which allows upon arrival. But we ended up just leaving and eating somewhere else. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't personally love that.
Yeah, the arrival thing is complicated because if you allow people to come in on arrival, then there's no like real time they're going to get out, and they're taking up space potentially for a long time.
True.
making it impossible for people departing to get in. So, as much as I would like to have access on arrival, I can understand why that's not something that lounges want to have. They don't want people in there all day long. Yeah, I don't like the idea of shortening access. Either I share with Greg the times when it matters most to me, or the times when I have 3 hours before my flight. And if I get through security less than an hour before my flight, I'm boarding soon enough that lounge access at that point is not really worth anything to me, because I may not even have time to get to the lounge and eat and
Yeah.
get to my gate. Like you said, I think the grab and go, it's nice. It's probably expensive for the whoever's offering the benefit, because then more people can get it, and just then you can serve a lot of people, and maybe that's more people than they want to be able to serve. I would like to see more grab and go, though. I think that would be awesome, because most of the time that is what matters to me, is getting a bite to eat that doesn't cost me an arm and a leg, and I don't really care. I like having a relaxing place to get work done in the lounge, but at the end of the day, I could take the food to the gate and I would still get most of what I'm coming for. So I hope that we'll see more of that. I would love to see more of that. I think it's more likely that we're going to see more restrictions in terms of fewer uses per year, fewer guesting of people, if overcrowding continues to be a big problem, or at least if it continues to be a problem that the issuers, the people providing access, think needs to be solved. Because on the flip side, maybe they just don't think it really needs to be solved. Some people will get in, some people won't, and maybe they don't think enough people will cancel their cards over it. I don't know, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I know a lot of people complain about this. I want to say on the flip side, though, we've had really good luck overall in the last few years in terms of getting into lounges. I think if you're based in like a Seattle or a Dallas, or a place where there are lots of people that are going to have access, then it's particularly difficult. But I think on the whole, in terms of getting into lounges at various airports, we did a lot of travel with the JetBlue 25 for 25, and we got into a lounge almost everywhere we went without any issue or wait. And so I think it's not necessarily a widespread issue everywhere. It's a tough issue to solve in those super crowded
Yeah,
locations of big cities.
right. Also, my impression is that if you fly during the most busy hours that people are flying, you're going to hit those kind of things a lot more. And I think that those of us that have more flexibility about when we fly are going to tend to have more like midday flights and things that are less likely to have overcrowding in the lounges. And technology can also help. So, for example, the Centurion Lounge in Miami is one of the ones that's infamously overcrowded, or has been in the past. But now what they're doing is they're limiting how many people can get in, and you get on a virtual queue and you get a message when it's your time to enter. And I did that last time I was there, and it was no problem at all. I went and did other stuff for, I don't know, 20 minutes, and I went in, and the lounge didn't seem overcrowded at all, thanks to that policy. So I think that could help a lot, especially if they get good at predicting when you'll be able to get in, so you can then make a decision of whether to wait or not.
Yeah, and you know what? They should be able to predict when you're going to be able to get in,
Mhm.
because they scan your boarding pass, so they know when everybody is leaving,
Yeah, good
more or
point.
less when those flights
Mhm.
are boarding. So leveraging the technology, you would think that they would be able to predict that really well. And so yeah, more technology lounges. If you're listening, lounge operators, more use of technology to accurately predict when people can get in, and put them on a wait list and let them know when they'll be able to get in. I think that would be great. All right. That brings us to the end of today's episode. If you've enjoyed this and you'd like to get more of this stuff in your email inbox each day or each week, you want to go to frequentmiler.com/subscribe to join our email list. Follow us on all the various social media. Join our Frequent Miler Insiders Facebook group, where you can ask and answer questions like this all the time. And if you have a question that you'd like to be considered for a future question of the week, or a piece of feedback that you'd like to be considered for the giant mailbag, you can send that too.
Send it to mailbag@frequentmiler.com. Bye, everybody.